So you heard the DA's office mention the Child Advocacy Center, and this is a really, really important place. It's super exciting that we actually have one now. It's important to keep child abusers and child molesters off the streets, and part of that has to do with the information that's brought in right from the beginning. And the Child Advocacy Center is making sure that they get the proper interviews, the proper exams, and all the things that they need to prosecute and win these cases, and that's what keeps these people off of our streets here in northern Nevada. So that's one of the big key things about this. But the other thing is creating a safe place for the children as they're going through this traumatic time in their life, that they're in a place where they feel safe and secure. And it's also providing that to the children. So it's such an important thing. I wanted to take the time to take our cameras over there and really give you guys an in-depth look at what the Child Advocacy Center is doing, meet the people that are working there. We're going to do a fantastic interview with Nicole Hicks, who is running this organization, and it was kind of her brainchild, and she wanted to have one here, and she's just done a fantastic job. We're going to talk with investigators and all kinds of people and really let you see what's going on over there. Since you heard about it from the DA's office, we wanted to give you a much closer look. So take a look at my interview with Nicole Hicks. So Nicole, let's start by just getting a little bit of your background and how the Child Advocacy Center came to be.
Well, I went to a training probably about 3 years ago, and I heard about child advocacy centers all over the country. And I came back to who was our DA at the time, Dick Amick, and I said, hey, I think we need one of these, a CAC. And he said, Nicole, he goes, you take it and run with it. And so I did. I went and met with local law enforcement, social services, and I ran the idea by them, and they were excited, they were on board.
What's the primary function?
Well, the primary function of a CAC and most CACs throughout the country is to investigate child abuse in a child-friendly environment like you see here. It's an effective investigation. It's a multidisciplinary team approach to child abuse cases, and ultimately it's to prosecute the cases the best we can. So multidisciplinary team is all of us meeting in one room, deciding if this is a viable case to go forward. If not, then it doesn't go forward. But we also have members of victim advocacy, we have therapists, we have medical unit, we have social services. So we're all in one room to decide the best interest of the child and the best way to investigate and prosecute the case.
Prior to the advocacy opening, we used to do the interviews of the children at the police department. The child would come in and sit in the lobby with everyone else, the adults, suspects that were coming in. With all the adult stuff going on, they would see officers coming in and out, sometimes running in and out because they were in a hurry for an emergency, a situation. And it's hard enough as it is for these little guys to be talking about what's going on, let alone let's just forefront it with all this other stuff going on. Then they would be taken upstairs into a separate room and talked to by a police officer or a detective, and regardless of what I looked like and I didn't have my gear on, they still understood that they were in a police department, and bad guys go to the police department and talk to people, so I'm going to get into trouble or I'm getting someone else into trouble was the theory. Here, however, they can come and it's completely child friendly. They don't see the uniformed police officers, they don't see the suspects, they don't have that tension, they don't have that sense of urgency that's going on. The buzz is totally different. So they come here, it's relaxed, child friendly, and we go at their pace. So from here back into the interview rooms, which is a completely different than what you would see at a police department. We also have the different aspect that we didn't have there. This is not just me talking to the child, then handing over the DVD to the district attorney or Child Protective Services. Now, the district attorney and Child Protective Services and the medical department, they're watching these interviews, which means they don't that child doesn't have to be talked to again, they don't have to be interviewed again, they don't have to tell their story 500 times. With a multidisciplinary team process, it takes all of that out and allows the child to speak in their own voice, in their own time, which helps not only the prosecution, but also their healing process. It's a win-win.
So I understand perfectly the investigation side of it, but this center also has great benefits for the abused child as well.
Well, so the beauty of CACs is, not all cases are going to turn into an investigation, which is a good thing. But what you have to remember is you still have a child that may need some help and the non-offending caregivers. So the great thing about a CAC is that we have therapists on duty that can meet with the child, meet with a non-offending caregiver when a disclosure is made. So instead of having this lag time to set a child up for therapy and things outside in the community, they can come here. And that's probably the best part about the CAC to me, and also the victim advocacy program. So we have victim advocates from Reno Police Department, Sparks Police Department, Washoe County Sheriff's Office, and the District Attorney's Office who come here, meet with the family, and then they can decide what services are best for the family.
The advocacy component that we all provide is to find out and assess the support system of these children. These crimes don't just impact the children, but we have a lot of secondary victims, which are other siblings, the family, the rest of the family. And our goal is to assess their immediate safety, practical needs, what resources and referrals we might be able to provide to them to help in their long journey of healing. So it isn't just about the investigation and the prosecution. It is really about trying to figure out how they can use their resilience and how do we build like a support system and ongoing long-term care so that they can recover from this and go on to lead successful lives. I think the best thing, in addition to the beautiful environment and the comfort and that it provides these kids, I think having our partners here and all of us on the same page with the same mission, the same vision, the communication is amazing. And I think the fact that we are able to work more closely as a team, regardless of which agency we work for, it creates this feel for the child that we are all their team. And they have this entire team of supportive, compassionate professionals behind them that want to see them succeed and that care about them. And that, to me, like to be a part of something like that and then to see the success, not just of the convictions and the prosecution and the investigation, which are all amazing successes for the team, but to see the child's reaction to the care that they get here from all of us, I think that's probably just the biggest sign of success for me.
Well, and I love that it's very child-friendly. I mean, I'm just imagining, a situation where a child has been traumatized or is very afraid, and going to a hospital where it's, sterile, not that they don't do a great job, but, just a totally different atmosphere where the exam that happens here and the interview that happens here is just an atmosphere that is much more friendly and more, less scary.
Well, that's really the point of the CAC is to create that child-friendly environment for interviews, for exams. So a child no longer has to go down to the police station to be interviewed, like you were just saying. They don't
That's
have
scary.
to go. It is. And you walk in here, and I really tried to make it child-friendly. We have lots of toys and things like that. But we also work with adult sexual assault victims. So I also wanted to make it comfortable for them as well. So I spent a lot of time on the waiting room, because when you walk in here, you're going to talk about pretty difficult things, or you may talk about pretty difficult things, but you're in the least threatening environment that we can give them.
With people who are truly passionate.
Everybody here, we have a team that seriously is probably one of the most amazing teams. Everybody has the child's best interests at heart, and the adult victims as well.
My primary role here at the Child Advocacy Center is to run the medical aspect of the child sexual abuse program and to consult on the more acute and serious physical injury cases that come through the Child Advocacy Center. I'm a pediatrician, and my subspecialty is child abuse and neglect. I'm the only board-certified child abuse pediatrician in the state of Nevada, which means that after I became a regular pediatrician, I went ahead and did an extra couple years of training in child abuse and got board certified.
When I came here the first time, I have to say it was traumatizing for me. I mean, just to know that this kind of stuff happens in the world was difficult enough. But one of the things that struck me the most was how passionate you are about what you're doing here. The passion just kind of pours out of you. Where do you get that passion from? Where do you draw that strength from?
You know, I think these kids they need to have a voice, and they don't even really know they need a voice right now. That'll come later in life, but they need to make sure that people are looking for them and looking out for them. And I think that's what, when I go home at night, that's what I hold on to, is that we're doing the best we can for these kids in horrific situations. You know, if I could take all that away and then get rid of the CAC, that's what I would do. Take all the trauma away from the kids, but we can't do that. So we have to just set up a facility with a great team to make sure that we help them along the way.
What has the impact been starting this center? How has it impacted the investigations, the children, the community?
So the prosecutions, last year alone we had 30 life sentences on sexual predators, sexual child predators. So
Getting them off the street.
we're getting them off the street. The beauty again of the CAC is when you have a team approach to things, you have all these minds in one room, and we are able to effectively investigate these cases from the very beginning instead of trying to play catch up.
Which increases your odds
That's
of
right.
prosecuting.
And that increases your odds of having someone plead guilty, and then we don't even have to put the child up to testify, right? You know, we do have to do that sometimes, but when we have a great investigation and a great case put together because we are all doing this as a team approach, you get a much better case and a much better investigation.
I cannot tell you how happy I am that you had the idea of putting this here in our community. I think it's so important, and I'm really glad that we're educating the community about what you're doing here so they can get behind you and support it. I think you're an amazing, incredible person, and thank you.